Long time no see. Yes, I know it's been a while since I've been on YouTube, or been anywhere for that matter. I'm at home, and I have been since the beginning of November last year, and it's now mid-February, and I've been off with problems with my mental health. Now, there's been a lot of things going around the news lately with mental health, and there's always been a stigma attached to it. So I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about the subject for this video. So, what is mental health? Does anybody really know? Does anybody really care? To be honest, mental health covers a wide variety of different things, be it simple things as stress, which can be not only a simple thing, it can be a disastrous thing. Depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, the list goes on and on and on. But the one thing we do know is that mental health can be and is an invisible killer. A lot of people won't pay attention to how people are feeling, because a lot of people are very good at hiding it. You know, it doesn't take 5 minutes just to go up to someone and say, "How are you doing?" Because at the end of the day, just those little few words can really pick someone's mind up, just because someone believes that someone is thinking about them. The one thing about sufferers of mental health, and it is something that we should try and get on top of, is the want to hide how they're feeling. The trouble is with most mental health problems, they don't show. You could be happy and smiling on the outside, but inside your heart's beating, your heart's pounding, your head's telling you things all the time. You could be sitting there in the doctor's surgery, for example. Everybody's looking around at each other like they do. You know, you can notice people looking at you. You're sitting there and everybody's thinking, "Oh, there's a person sitting over there." But inside your mind, you're screaming to yourself, "I don't want to be here. I want to get out. I don't like it." That can happen all over the place for a lot of people. Trouble is, mental health sufferers don't tend to want to talk about things because they want to try and get past it themselves. There really is no loss of pride for asking for help. The worst thing you can possibly do is stay quiet. The only thing I do suggest at this moment in the video is, if you're feeling like that and you're that low, you don't want to hide it. Talk to family. You know, find people that will understand. If you can't find that in your own family, go to your GP, and the GP can point you in the right direction. Please don't suffer alone, because, as I said, mental health is a silent killer, and it kills thousands of people every year, if not tens of thousands. A lot of people find it really hard to cope, and they have no one there beside them to help them. I'm lucky. I have my partner to talk to. But there is people who are alone and suffering. I will put some mental health numbers in the description and addresses to go with them. But please, I do urge you, get as much help as you can. Not only is mental health a silent killer, it's also an invisible one. Please, to the people out there who don't suffer in such a way, please don't ignore the fact that somebody may be suffering. Please don't go out your way to look at someone and say, "Well, they're alright," because you never really know what goes on up there. Take, for example, most mental health people could be registered as disabled. and pull up into a disabled parking bay. Just because that person gets out, walks off like a normal person and acts normal, it doesn't mean they are. Just because they're not in a wheelchair or haven't got a leg missing, and I'm not putting anybody down, it's just for an example, it doesn't mean that they're not suffering from a disability, because that's what mental health is. It's a disability. It can stop you from doing a lot of things. It can stop you from going out. It can stop you from having a social life. It can stop you from going to sleep at night. The most common thing that happens with a mental health disorder such as depression is sleep patterns are severely interrupted. A common thing for depression and anxiety, that kind of thing, is going to bed wide awake. Yes, you get into bed, you're trying to sleep, and you can't. But eventually, you will drop off and you'll have a good 8, 9, 10, 15 hours sleep. But when you wake up, you're exhausted. That's a good sign that someone is suffering. If you have a partner or a younger child and you see that pattern, please try to ask them if they're okay. Because I can guarantee you something's almost wrong. Unless they're the kind of teenager who sits up all night playing on their games and then gets up 2 hours after they've gone to sleep. Now that's a different thing. But yeah, try to recognise the signs. There's plenty of places out there where you can read up on it. So I do urge you to do a bit of research and don't just jump to conclusions. The causes of mental health can be triggered by a lot of different things. It could be that you're being bullied. Take for example, being bullied by a manager at work who's giving you extra workload on top of everybody else. You're seeing yourself treated differently than everybody else. That does get it going up there. You could be a child who's having difficulty at school, who's being picked on by a teacher, or being bullied by his fellow pupils. The thing is with children, they'll almost always come home and say everything's alright. There's only a small percentage of kids who will turn around and say something's wrong. So if you are a child and you are watching this and you are being bullied at school, please seek help. You can always go to your head teacher, talk to your parents, but it must be sorted. Either way, there's always an answer. But it's not only schools and work, it could be anything. It could be the passing of relatives, it could be the loss of a job, it could be money worries. All these things can set off a big cycle of different emotions, and then before you know it, you're stuck in a loop. A big loop that you can't get out of. But once again, if you are suffering, please get some help. I myself have, like I said, been off since November, and a lot of it was down to anxiety and depression and post-traumatic stress because of losing so many family members over the past amount of years. I'm not going to go too far into it because it is personal to me, and I am currently seeking help for it. But just remember that mental health does not make you a freak. It does not make you strange. It's more common than you actually realise. And anybody out there who thinks, oh, mental health is just in the mind, of course it is. That's the point. The mind is a very powerful thing. It can decide where your life goes. It can decide whether you're happy or whether you're sad. But the brain's got a good mechanism for shutting things out. So please, spare a thought for those who are suffering, because they're not always visible. Thanks, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.